noon hour is here.
Check it out.
And you're locked on to Utah's highest rated, most listened to sports radio station.
It's my station. It's my station.
This is Hans Olsen and Scotty G on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hey, let's get it. Look who's rocking on old McAfee, who's going to be joining us here in about 27 minutes. Ryan Smith.
Yeah, Ryan Smith is going through the logos, and he's got the Tuss Up shirt and going back and forth with Pat. And don't worry about tuning into that because he's going to be jumping on with Scotty and I.
Yeah.
We'll give you a local flair here.
They're just going to make jokes about try to make him say uncomfortable things about BYU. And,
that's all they do.
Yeah.
That's all they do. I don't know how much they actually get into some sincere things, some questions that people really want to know. But Ryan Smith will be joining us here in 26 minutes from now.
Yes. At 12:30, we'll chat with the owner of the Utah Mammoth and the Utah Jazz.
How you doing, bud?
I'm good.
Well, it sounds like we're both doing better than Lloyd, huh?
Lloyd texted me this morning at 6 a.m. I don't know when he got a hold of you, but he said that he has got that UTI. Mm-hmm. Or no, kidney stones.
Whatever it is, it burns.
Wherever. It's a issue down south of the border.
I can't remember if it was this or if it was any type of wart. No. Here's the deal. Where does it fit in? Where does faking kidney stones fit in with humanity?
If it hurts down below, clap your hands. Operative word, clap.
If you fake a kidney stone, like does it in society, how low is that? Because
that's pretty low because I've had kidney stones, and it's the worst singular pain. Actually, no, I take that back. When I had that double hernia surgery, that was the worst pain I've ever felt.
Yeah, that was a bad couple of days.
Yeah.
When Jay Stevens filled in for you, have you heard this whole thing with Jay?
I have not talked to him. I meant to bring it up, and then I thought it might be a little too personal, but he's posted on Facebook, and he took a picture of all the kidney stones.
Yeah.
It looks like he could lay a cement pad over all that gravel he passed through.
It's true. Jay Stevens went through hell, and this is how much hell he went through. He was in the land of our people, Scotty.
Yeah.
And he was set to visit like Netherlands or Switzerland or Denmark or something. He had all of these plans with his kids, and the kidney stones were like, no, you're coming home and going directly into surgery. And he came home. And everything was paid for, and he just said, nope, I'm not doing this. He said that the pain is just immense. Insane.
So, yeah, the kidney stones, and I passed maybe like an eighth of the amount of stones that he passed.
Yeah.
And and it was up until I had the hernias was the worst pain I've ever felt in my life.
Well, Lloyd better have a gravel truck in his kidney in order to miss this show. That's all I'm saying. He better have a full-size gravel truck backed up and unloaded in that bladder of his.
Here's the thing. We've been talking about kidney stones, and it's fresh on his mind, and he knows about Jay Stevens. It just seems the timing. You may want to space that out a little bit. Like,
it's so curious.
And I don't think he's ever had kidney stones before, and all of a sudden he has kidney stones. It's like,
well, and what was weird is he was like, and the kidney stone should be passed by noon next Wednesday is kind of what I'm expecting.
You know, that's the other thing that when I was doing jazz shows with Tom Nasalki, and Tom was just like, and Tom had a lot of back issues, and he would get so upset when Andre Karolinko would say, yeah, I'm having back spasms, and I'll be back Tuesday in 2 weeks. Like, he goes, if you have back issues, you don't schedule when you're going to come back. The back tells you when you can come back.
Yeah, and that's kind of how Lloyd did it with these kidney stones. I just know that I'm going to be feeling better Wednesday.
Yes.
Next Wednesday should be that's interesting.
Yeah.
That's a full 7 days.
Oh, Jeff, I want to read that tweet he just sent us so bad. One of my favorite tweets that I've seen in a long time. We might get in trouble for that.
Yeah, they have. Yeah, they really have, Jeff.
Jeff, just know we saw it. We liked it. We'd love to read it. But the No Fun Police might get after us for that.
Yeah,
one.
they would. But we're good. We're excited to be here. Scotty deals with his kidney stones, and I'm dealing with kidney stones. We both have kidney stones right now, and we're in pain.
We're here, yeah.
But and Christian, who's filling in for Lloyd, has kidney stones. It's just crazy. The three of us with kidney stones are doing a show. You know why? Because we talk for a living, not urinate.
Yes, I know.
Like if urinating was our living, it was like, oh, well, I better take some time off for these kidney stones.
I'm telling you, like, even I had that double hernia surgery, and I was here the next day. It was the 2 days after that I really felt the pain, and I still did the show from home.
Didn't you go and do a coaching show that night?
I did.
Where the coach didn't even show up?
Yeah.
A long time ago. This was years and months
and
ago.
then I called a game in Boise that Saturday.
Yeah, I remember you were driving to Boise, and I was on the phone with you. I'm like, how you doing? You're like, not good. Bleeding out both stitches.
Yep.
Because you had cuts on both sides of your body that are bleeding through.
Yeah, that was the uncomfortable part. I was wearing a shirt, and I had blood seeping through my shirt.
Sopping with blood.
Yeah, so I had to get the old pullover on.
It's crazy. You still did your job.
And I still did my job.
Isn't it crazy how people can still do their jobs?
Yeah, crazy.
There's people out working construction with kidney stones right now
and
that are shaking their head at Lloyd.
And by the way, I'm not, in no way, shape, or form am I like saying that I'm a tough guy. I'm just saying that what we do is not tough. It's just not that hard.
No, it's not.
Anyway.
We're grateful to do it.
Yeah, no, we're extremely lucky and fortunate to be able to have a job, because if we were doing construction, I would not be tough enough to do it.
Not tough enough at all.
But I can sit in a chair and talk sports.
No, IWC Roofing showed up at my house yesterday, and it was raining. It was early morning, and these three dudes showed up, and they've got shingles on their shoulder, and they're climbing up a 50-rung ladder to get up on top of a wet roof in an overcast. I'm like, IWC, like, salute. I just stood out on my front lawn with the rain drizzling on my shoulders and just saluted like, you're the real champs.
Those are the dudes.
You're the real heroes. We just, like, for instance, I sweated over 3.5 hours of playoff viewing last night.
Honey, I got to go downstairs and go to work. What do you mean?
Think roofers go to work with kidney stones? I bet they do.
I guarantee.
Yeah. Because
the three dudes I saw on my roof, the kidney stones was the least of what they were doing.
Nothing.
Yeah, those dudes, because they're going to get that roof replaced in a day. They don't have time to deal with kidney stones.
Speaking of playoffs, should we hit this thing?
Yeah, we got a lot to get to, and I might add, and because Christian is here, and Christian has produced so many of my Utah State games. Although Christian's good mojo kind of fizzled out this year. Like, if I had Christian on a game, I knew Utah State was going to win.
W was coming.
And then, I don't know, man. I don't know if you're not living right on and off the broadcast booth or what, but yeah, Christian kind of fizzled out on me there at the end of the season.
I don't know how Christian does. Christian flies under the radar because, like...
Oh, I know.
Like, I really like Christian. And, I don't like people in this studio. But I like Christian.
Yeah.
I don't know how he does it.
Christian is like the most likable person on the planet.
But I will tell you, I told Christian something I haven't told anybody. And if I find out that Christian shares that information, then I won't like Christian anymore.
It's a test, and I understand that.
Hey,
you are getting tested, yes.
Oh, yeah. And by the way, I have told people stuff that did go and blabber it all over the place, and I refuse to talk to those people anymore.
I fully understand.
So, just know you got welcomed into the family, but once you get kicked out of the family, you're not welcome back in the family.
I've seen The Godfather.
No.
Yeah. No, you can't work your way back in the circle.
But Christian,
you can work your way in the circle, but once you get put out of the circle, you ain't getting back in.
You do a heck of a job, Christian.
Yeah,
Thanks for always fighting through your kidney stones to be here.
And the reason I brought up Christian is that Christian will keep us on time because we have to be on time for Ryan Smith at 12:30.
Yes.
So I know that Christian runs a very tight ship. All the liners will be read. We'll be out on time. Yeah, no loosey-goosey today, folks.
The sports world is on fire right now.
It is on fire.
I am taking in more sports than I have taken in since football season right now.
Yeah.
It's just overwhelming how much time I'm spending watching games.
Yep.
And they're good.
They're great.
Yeah. Right, Tony? little frosted flakes to start the show.
I thought you'd like that in reference to the text exchange we had the other day.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely.
Hans and Scotty, let's get to it. Starting a lineup right now.
This is Hans and Scotty G.
Let's go!
The lineup is set, and it's time to kick off the show with the biggest topic of the day. This is the starting lineup on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hans and Scotty, it's your starting lineup, the show and starting lineup, all brought to you by our good friends at Mountain Land Supply, where the pros go for all your HVAC, plumbing. Look, if water runs through it, the guys at Mountain Land are going to get you squared away. They are great dudes, and they'll have something to help you out with whatever your needs may be. Go to mountainland.com to find the location nearest you. All right, Hans, we got playoffs. We got NHL playoffs. We got NBA playoffs. We've got the Knicks, who just somehow will not die. They're like they're like your Jason or Freddy Krueger or whatever. You think you have them down, and man, they're not going anywhere.
They're not.
You got Denver getting just absolutely blitzed. By the way, I did have the Oklahoma City minus the 10.5. So I will want your avatar changed here very soon.
You had a chance to take it.
I did.
I did offer it up.
You did.
Boy, and did that go the wrong way. There's so many things you don't even sometimes know where to start. But let's start with this, because I do think this is the kind of information that people want to take to the workplace and be like, hey, did you know what?
By the way,
road teams won all 4 game ones for the first time in NBA postseason history. Then came back to win both Eastern Conference game 2s as well. So right now, the road teams are 0-2 in East, 0-2 in East, 1-1 just barely because Oklahoma City made a push back. But for the first time, all 4 game ones were won by the road team. So the postseason is topsy-turvy. It's upside down. Don't know exactly how it's going to go. And then you're watching Boston last night, and you're like, surely Boston can't miss a record 45 three-pointers again. They missed 45 three-pointers in game 1.
yeah.
They tried in game 2. They missed 30. They went 10 of 40 from 3 in game 2 and again fall short. Now, the biggest one that they missed was in the closing seconds of this game when Boston had the ball with 10 seconds, an opportunity to close this game out, get the win at home to go back to New York 1-1. Instead, Tatum, who's one of the best basketball players in the NBA, can't get a pass or a shot off.
Yeah.
How?
Gets caught up in the air. The old adage, what do they tell you in junior jazz? Do not go up and try to pass with your feet off the ground. And he did. The ball deflected away, stolen away, and that's how it ends. He got caught up, looked like he was trying to shoot, didn't like the shot, tried to pass out of it, and boom, there you go.
Who was it? Was it Bridges?
Yeah.
Or Anunoby?
I think it was Bridges.
Bridges that tapped that out and was able to steal it. And then they just fired it into the air and let the final 2.5 seconds tick off the clock. But there's no question, if you watch that again, there's no question if it was Bridges. Bridges left the perimeter to come over and help defense on Tatum because he believed Tatum was going to hit a turnaround or was going to do something at the rim. And you could tell Bridges came over for some help defense. And that left, I think it might have been Al Horford, it might have been Derek White that was right there just above the break outside on the perimeter, wide open. He was out there having a picnic all by himself. He would have had a wide open look if that pass could have got back out to the perimeter, but it didn't. And I sit there and I look at these men, like Jason Tatum, what is he making, $49 million this year? Mm-hmm. A man making $49 million could not get a pass out to the perimeter. Now, there's a man defending him that's making about $28 million, but you're telling me that the best, one of the top 5 players in the NBA can't get a pass out to the perimeter. They can't find a way to just get any type of shot off in the final 10 seconds of that game. If I'm New York, I'm taking a victory lap just based on that.
Yeah.
We shut them down. Boston scored 90 points. When is the last time, in the regular season, how many times did we even see 90 points scored?
By the way, I'm getting really tired, and I know this is an issue that Locke is really passionate about, But I am so tired of people complaining about officials now. Guess what? This is what you have now. Stop it. Stop complaining about it's so physical out there. We're getting Shut up. Guess what? It's been like that. What do you want? You want consistency, right? And and the thing is, I'm seeing it a lot in this Golden State series where both sides are just complaining up a storm. Guess what? You're getting a lot of swallowed whistles right now. You're getting a lot of physicality. You know how these games are being played now, so you better adjust accordingly. Either you toughen up, either you adjust your schemes, or you figure something out, because this is how the playoffs are going to go.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
and I like it.
And I like it. Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm a kid of the 80s and 90s NBA basketball. I grew up with the Knicks. I grew up with the Pistons. I grew up with the bully ball. So I like it. That's how I cut my teeth in the NBA.
It's kind of fun watching the weak be forced to try to be tough.
Yes.
It's kind of fun.
And I get it. You're the best athletes. Let them be the best athletes. You know what? How about the best athletes? Show you're the best athlete after you get punched in the mouth.
Man, these postseasons, they're letting a lot go, and it's making it more enjoyable because the game isn't slowed down as much. And I don't mind a 90-92.
No.
I don't mind it.
I would rather have a 98-92 game than a 142-136 game.
Or something like we saw from Oklahoma City last night.
Yeah.
Geez, Denver. There might be problems. We'll talk about that Denver OKC game. But I do want to mention this because you asked the question yesterday. Who's in more trouble? I think you asked New York or Cleveland, didn't you? Or did you throw in Oklahoma City?
I threw it was Oklahoma City
and
New York. And excuse me,
Cleveland.
Cleveland, yeah. Because I just assumed Boston would come back. I didn't put the Knicks on there because I figured Boston would eventually, put a stranglehold on that series.
Right, because we all assumed that they're the team coming out of the East.
Yeah.
They've got the best team. They got the best roster. And you would think that they'd come out of the East. But this is going to get really interesting. Now, Cleveland's in a lot of trouble because without Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, and DeAndre Hunter, I think they're in a lot of trouble. It's showing that there's, with Evan Mobley off the court, who was the best defensive player in the NBA, one of the top defensive players in the NBA, Darius Garland, who is a do-it-all, and DeAndre Hunter, who's one of their top rotators, there's real problems right now for Cleveland. And I really could see a world where we see the Pacers and New York advance in the East, and we could see Cleveland and Boston go home.
How crazy is this?
Look, everybody is just on bated breath to see New York do anything significant. Mm-hmm. And I've got to imagine, even though, it's the who's who and who spends more money when you go back to the Garden, New York is going to be a really difficult place for anybody to go play in the postseason. It's just going to be a really difficult place. And I got to imagine Boston is not looking forward to it. This is, well, you correct me if I'm wrong. Is Boston, New York, is that not the most historic rivalry in the NBA?
Yeah, between two teams. Yeah, with the biggest history for sure. Unless you have New York or Boston playing the Lakers, yeah, this is as good as you can get right now.
Now, you tell me what Madison Square is going to be like.
Oh, it's going to be unbelievable.
With New York coming back 0-2. And it's not like New York's coming back with 2-0 against a mediocre Boston team with a New York roster that's loaded with the highest paid players in the NBA. Now, you got Karl Anthony Towns, which is nice, but we're talking about a ragtag group for the most part.
Yeah.
We're talking about Jalen Brunson that goes 5'10", 6'0", and Jalen Brunson is out there schooling people. We're talking about Karl Anthony Towns that's been tossed around and kicked about and made fun of and let go out of Minnesota to keep Rudy Gobert and crew. And you're like, well, Karl Anthony Towns is finding his place. Mikal Bridges is able to close out and force an air pass from the best player in the NBA and Tatum last night. I just can't believe what I'm watching with New York.
I'm with you on that.
And so I want New York to come out of this. Now, I don't want it to be a 4-0. I don't want to even though that would be a hell of a storyline, to see Boston get blanked and New York finish it in Madison Square over the next 2 games. But this is such a wild storyline, man.
It really is. I still think the Celtics win this series, but
yeah, I do too.
But wow,
I actually put together numbers. I put together numbers for road teams that lead 0-2, and I'm going to have to find where I put them.
Oh, it's not great.
It is not great. Typically, road teams that lead 0-2 end up closing it out, and I'll have to find the exact numbers. But to your point, there have been multiple home teams that go down 0-2 that do come back, and they're able to close that out in a Game 7. I think there's been 4 of them that have where the road team the home team starts 0-2 and comes back and is able to win the series. Doesn't happen a lot.
No.
But if anybody could do it, it's going to be Boston.
It's going to be Boston for sure. Ryan Smith joins us next.
The Utah Jazz select.
Do you believe in karma? Well, we here at the KSL Sports Zone absolutely believe in creating good vibes for the Utah Jazz in their hopes of securing the #1 pick in the NBA Draft Lottery. Go to KSLSports.com to donate $2 to Intermountain Primary Children's Hospital.
Wait, why $2? And isn't that the jersey number of...
Bob, it's just a random number, okay? Just stick to the copy.
It's a real 2-for-1. Your donation will help Intermountain Primary Children's Hospital and help the Utah Jazz capture the Good Karma flag in their hopes of recouping winning basketball in Utah.
Fingers crossed, guys.
Donate your $2 right now at KSLSports.com.
Hans and Scotty, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. All right, we need you to go to KSLSports.com. It's the 2-for-1. All we're asking you to do is donate $2. That's it. $2 for Intermountain Primary Children's Hospital. Why? Because we're trying to put a little good mojo in there, a little good vibes, if you will, for the Utah Jazz, who the draft lottery hands coming up on Monday.
Monday is going to be a big day. As we saw with the NHL draft lottery, it worked out really well for our state. And we got all these good feelings and all this good mojo that is flowing towards the Smith Entertainment Group right now because our state just stands to really gain a lot. It stands to gain a lot.
Yeah.
If we can find a way for that one lottery ball to pop up with that Jazz logo on it, and Cooper flag is destined for Utah, it changes everything. How much does it change everything? Scotty and I have talked to probably 5 or 6 different NBA analysts, and we threw out just the base starting 5 that includes the front court of Lauri Markkanen, Cooper Flag, and Walker Kessler with whatever, Isaiah Collier or Colin Sexton or whoever in the backcourt. I mean, you're going to have to rebuild and find better for the backcourt. But they said, yeah, that alone is 35 to 38 wins. Well, 35 to 38 wins puts you within a win or 2 of the play-in tournament.
Yep.
And we're just talking about 1 pick. That's it. Now, that doesn't include all the other assets that the Jazz have. The Jazz have 2 first-round picks, and they could package those things. And they've got plenty of salary cap space. So what I'm saying is it could be groundbreaking, monumental if the Jazz could hit this thing.
And I think that's what all of us are just kind of sitting back and hoping for in terms of being able to secure a player of the talent of Cooper Flag without having to use significant assets to do it. Because let's say if the Jazz pick 2 or 3 and they still are dead set on Cooper Flag, then you're probably going to have to trade a bunch of number 1s and probably a high-level player to move up to number 1. Mm-hmm. And even then, you're hoping, I mean, if somebody has the same value of Cooper Flag as the Jazz do, they're like, nah, we're not giving that up. I mean, this is the kind of player that can immediately turn around your organization.
Yeah, Will. And obviously, Cooper Flag, there's every sign showing that he is going to be amazing. So let's say the Jazz miss on Cooper Flag. Well, then I think you go back to the possibility of losing draw board to go for A.J. DeMatza.
Yeah.
Or if A.J. doesn't surface through that year, if there's one guy that rises that's like, that's the number, it probably happens again. But if you do get the number 1 pick, I do think that that's an indicator that, we're done with this losing thing, which I really want.
Yeah.
I want whatever move is made, I want that move to say, hey, we're done losing.
Yeah.
Because it's so much of a crapshoot, man. 14%, it's a crapshoot. And to do that year in and year out and to shoot for it, you've got to play it 10 times before you hit it once. And I just don't think that that's what the Jazz, that's the business that they want to get into.
No. Once you go down that path and you develop that culture, it's hard to break out of it.
But I do think that there is a perfect timeline and order to everything that we're seeing right now. And I think a lot of it has to do with the rebuild and renovation of the arena and downtown. And what's interesting is the more I look at the SEG, the Smith Entertainment Group timeline of the Delta Center rebuild and the downtown rebuild, it's interesting how that timeline lines up with draft picks, free agency, Cooper Flag or whoever, Collier and Kessler and Lowry Markkinen and their maturity. We're talking about a 3.5 to 4 year period, and we'll talk more about this with Ryan Smith, before we see the downtown and Delta Center ready to handle that type of explosion, that type of fandomship. Because we have not seen championship level professional sports in this state since 99 when the Jazz were
98, 97, 98
when they were in the championship. And back then, go take a look at our population then.
Oh, geez, yeah.
And our sports interest then and what it is now. I just want people to understand there is a true hope and goal for a Stanley Cup and an NBA championship in this state. And when it happens, there's got to be a downtown that can handle this stinking thing, because it's going to be complete insanity.
Oh, yeah.
And the way they're remodeling and rebuilding the Delta Center with the tarmac that'll go all the way through to the Salt Palace and will connect to City Creek Mall and connect to Temple Square, and it can be an underground walk, and you've got shops and everything, that all needs to be ready. And the timeline fits.
It really does. And I think it's going to be really fascinating to see how this thing's going to play out. And it all starts on Monday. Ryan Smith expected to join us any moment now right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone, the owner of the Utah Mammoth. See, now we got into muscle memory with Utah Hockey Club. Now we got to get our minds right on
but
Utah
it's so much,
Mammoth.
The Mammoth is so much
Easier to say, yeah.
It just, you're right. It's been a full year of us kind of going back and forth with things with the Utah Hockey Club, but Mammoth is very easy. What have you seen on the reception of it?
For the most part, good. In fact, I haven't really seen anything negative on it. Have you?
I've seen a few people that are just like, I don't, the social media, I don't like. Here's the thing. Give it a minute. I think it'll settle in on you. Scotty and I have had a good idea on this for a couple months, that it would probably be the Mammoth. Once the Yeti thing went down, the Mammoth was the right way to go. And so once it kind of settles in and you get a feel for the colors and the logos and then some of the possibilities on names, the Tusk Up thing is already catching, and the Boneyard is already catching. And I think that there are a lot of positive things that are going to bring people, even the ones that are like, I don't like it, that'll bring them around. But there were people that were set in their outlaw ways or, their cutthroat ways or, whatever else they wanted it to be named. But I do think that isn't it crazy, though, the timeline on how things line up?
I know. It's really something.
You'll have the new practice facilities that are going to be completed, and you're going to have skating rinks that are going to be opening up statewide. The Smith Entertainment Group investment into opening rinks throughout the state is going to be classic to bring people to the game.
Joining us now, he is the owner of the Utah Jazz and now the Utah Mammoth. Ryan Smith, kind enough to join us. Ryan, how are you?
Hey, Ryan.
What's up, fellas? It sounds kind of cool, huh?
It does.
Mammoth?
Yeah.
You like it?
Killed it.
It's rolling.
Yeah.
We can work with that.
It's just because, you're on the air and you say it all the time and you get kind of that muscle memory for Utah Hockey Club. But yeah, Mammoth, yeah. I know this has been a long process. What's it been like behind the scenes putting something like this together?
Look, first of all, it takes a lot to be willing to kind of throw that out there and let the fans name the team, because it's going to test your conviction of that, pretty detailed. Primarily because, anytime you throw something out on the internet, a lot can happen. It's not just words. With AI right now, someone's like, this is what it should be. Oh, and like this, right? And 5 minutes later, they come up with something that a human hand could never even come up with. So I'm just super proud of our group for being very open, being committed to go with where the fans want to go, even though personally, you've got a lot of opinions around the group, from the design team to the group we hired externally. There's a lot of opinions there. And, our fans made it super. When we got down to 3, our fans made it super easy for us. They go ahead.
How many votes was there?
We were close to 1 million. It was pretty incredible. And, when we took the iPads around the arena with the final votes and attached, pretty much full branding to them, which took a lot of work because we were basically building out what would be the identity of multiple different, options. And then, you've got to go and do the trademarks with all those at the same time. It wasn't like we went and created the identity of one team. We did it for all of the options, because nothing can be worse than getting down to the end, choosing it, and be like, hey, we don't have the URLs and the signal and everything else, or the logos, and we can't do that. And, obviously some people had Google Glass or were looking at it, but, it was really cool that, we had that home stretch in February that we had kind of circled, which was 11 games in Utah, which, by the way, was so freaking awesome. 11 back-to-back where we're switching the court to the ice every night. And, that was kind of the moment where Mammoth just took off. And we're like, okay, we've never seen in any of this, this. I said it yesterday in the presser, because I was watching the Derby last week, and when a horse starts pulling away, it's there's nothing stopping it. And that's when it was that's it.
When you see the Easter eggs and they present, the final logo and say, this is what we put in, so much of what you wanted to build here with these teams has been Utah-centric. How much pride do you take in that?
Yeah, it was something that the cool part is we were all part of the design process. I was at least on 200 calls, everyone was. And, the state, the amount of work to get that state right with the M in the bottom of it. And then, having gone through the jersey process for the Jazz right when we came in, and just knowing what, how long and hard that process is. And then finally getting all of our jerseys to a uniform color, a uniform design, where the mountain is the connector that we can authentically own in the NBA. They're not going to give that away to anyone else. It's like Michigan, Michigan's colors are they're theirs, right? We own that mountain, and to be able to incorporate that here is pretty cool. And so we've got our Jazz jerseys, the white ones, coming out this year, and then our form's set. We'd love to just keep the branding the way it is all the way. It's taken a long time to kind of bring it all back in. But that's just the process it takes. And that's the other hard part about this is we're sitting there in February going, okay, we've got to let the NHL know kind of where we're at here, because lead time to get this done. And fortunately, we have a great relationship. I'm pretty close to Michael Rubin of Fanatics, and they were willing to do unnatural things to get us up this year so we could actually let the voting finish out, which is pretty cool.
Ryan, people that are in your situation amaze me because, you're sitting here dealing with logos and renaming, but then you're dealing with Delta Center rebuilding, and then you're dealing with NHL lottery, and you've got NBA lottery. You've got all these irons in the fire, but here we've got a fence around the Delta Center, and this thing is rebuilding, remodeling. How much day-to-day input and work is that for you in this remodel, and where are we at with this whole thing?
Yeah, so first of all, the way we've set up SEG with the people that we have, it's incredible. They have it's about as entrepreneurial as it gets for our teams. And Jim Olson, who you guys know, president of the Jazz, is leading all the remodel there. And he did a little bit of. He's been there. He ran Delta Center for a long time, and I was in there yesterday walking with him. I've got at least one call a day where we're going through stuff. But it's interesting because this is a 3-year process. I wish you could take longer and really go through the design more, but it's hey, no, we got to go. We're doing only lower bowl this time, and then we'll go from one side to the other, and then we're changing it. We're trying to keep the intimacy of Delta Center with the sight lines they are without blasting everything out and moving it back 50 feet like a lot of these arenas do. So when you're behind the hoop, you can't see over the person in front of you because it's so flat. And I think that's what we've been able to accomplish by basically going riser all the way up, which is really cool because we have the ability to kind of walk in and say, okay, it's hockey, press button 2, and it all configures, right? It's like one of those transformers. And then hey, press button 1 and it goes. And it's kind of the only way to make it work. And so it's been pretty creative. But and also every time you go in there, this is a 30-year-old building. Every time you go in, you get in there and you're messing with the core of it. You've got to be very, very thoughtful on, architecture and, earthquake compliant, everything else. It's pretty good. Guys are going around the clock.
So Hans and I do a lot of remotes down in Sandy, and it seems like every time we drive past 106 and see that new facility going up, it's wow, I can't believe what has been done in a week. I can't believe what's been done in 2 weeks. That sucker's going to be ready come the beginning of fall for the Utah Mammoth. Just how much fun is that to be a part of and to really build out something that's never really been built at that scale here in the state of Utah before?
Yeah, Southtown, you might as well. We're going to call that Sports Town because, it's this thing. These facilities definitely attract a lot of things. And, it's probably going to be the number one place that our community interacts with our brands. And it's really cool because I think, in talking to all the folks in Sandy, it's kind of been what are we going to do with this? What are we going to do with this mall? It's just not vibrant. And to be able to walk in and kind of revitalize how we see this. And it also, I think what's kind of going under the radar a little bit is it's going to provide a big anchor to South Salt Lake, right? And, our players, when they come into town often, because everything is centralized in downtown, they kind of have to live in that sort of close area. It's weird when we have a player that lives down in, it's uncommon when they live down in South Jordan or Draper or Sandy. I think if you look at where we're going, the experience people are going to be having who are not from here in Utah is going to be able to kind of straddle that whole bench all the way down on both sides of the freeway. And that's a different experience. Our hockey team, for example, they all want to live right by the facility. And so it really changes and sets us up to really kind of almost have like dual hubs in the city. And there's a lot of cities like that, like Dallas. You know, we had an office in Legacy, and then there was obviously Arlington, and then what happened in downtown. Denver's very much that way, where, you know, I remember working in college right before I started Qualtrics at the Tech Center right there, where you kind of had barbells within the city, and just people could come and have different options. Whereas like right now, when we always relocated people either for tech or whatever, and they were living in Salt Lake, it would be like, okay, we're going to go up into the Sugar House area. We're going to go here. Like, it gives this ability to experience way more of our state the way that maybe some of us experience it as well. So it's really, you know, it's really going to be a positive in ways that I don't think that we even know yet.
So after that completes and the Delta Center gets underway and is kind of down the line, what is the timeline and vision of the downtown reimaging look like for you, Ryan? Just is that 3 years that you gave us, or 3.5 years? Does that include downtown rebuild, or are we talking about quite a ways out?
No, I mean, I think in 3 years we'll definitely be underway, so you'll be able to see kind of how it comes together, where, you know, we'll be doing that. But there's a lot of work. I mean, the prep work downtown's real. You know, we've got a building and, you know, a block, a lot of the block that we purchased. So that's got to come down, and, you know, that's going to take a little bit of time. And then, you know, our goal is just to really be able to make that experience that you kind of get inside the Delta Center be able to happen outside. So when someone comes, they're not coming into the city at 6:45, coming to a game and running to their cars at night and like hopping out of here. And so we believe that there's a way better experience that we can be offering as, you know, a city of Salt Lake and a state. You know, if you think about, you know, what goes on in downtown, you know, there's not a lot that's what we have in common with some of the other cities of that same size, because of either industry that's there, where there's just flow and activity all the time. Now, when there's a big convention, we see it, or we saw it at All-Star, where, you know, we want it vibrant. And, you know, I think that we know that it will work, primarily because of the feedback we're getting from business owners down there. You know, the amount of business owners who I've spoken with who said, I cannot explain what bringing hockey has done to my business. We never thought we would see it. And it's because that many more people are coming down, during those games. And so I think that that's going to be a real unique, opportunity, because if you look at Salt Lake across from Delta Center, on the top part of where Delta Center is, you have, our blocks that are controlled and owned by the church. On the other side, you've got what used to be Gateway, and those kind of, for all intents and purposes, serve as walls. And then on the other side, you've got, the convention center. And so the ability to come out of Nordstrom's and just walk straight through the middle all the way down to Delta Center and just kind of have that paseo there is pretty powerful. And then the amount of brands, which I think is also important, that we can attract these brands to Utah. These are brands the same way that we were able to attract an NHL team where people didn't think it was possible. Well, what brands do we think we can get here? And this isn't retail. We're not trying to say, hey, let's get a Gucci or whatever it is. It's much more around, hey, what type of hotels, what type of entertainment, where is it that would give us, like, hey, this is where we want to go to lunch and go around. And so a place where we just want to gather and families can be. And so that's the vision of it. I'm kind of giving you the whole vision across everything that we have going. But I think the stage is set. And if you look at, someone coming in town, they're staying in the Hyatt there, they're staying in the Marriott, like, what's their experience? What's their experience when they wake up in the morning and they don't have a meeting till 10 o'clock? Where are they going? What are they going to do? what's our players' experience? We bring someone in for the Jazz. I mean, I'm looking out right now over the court, and we've got all these guys in here for pre-draft workouts. Like, a lot of them have never been to our state before. And so what is their experience this morning?
So you talk about the NBA draft and workouts and things like that. Monday is certainly a big day. What kind of good vibes can we put out there that we can recreate, hopefully, what happened with the Utah Mammoth? See, look, I screwed it up again, man. Holy smokes.
Well, look, I don't think I think you guys are doing it. You're all doing it. I think we all want these vibes. It's been something that, right or wrong, I mean, we've never moved up. And so, why not this year? Why not us? Right. And I think that's kind of how we feel. And, I think we're due. I think this is a good draft, and, we're in a good position. We're guaranteed a top 5 pick, and, obviously everyone wants number 1. My lucky charm, Ashley, is going to go represent Jazz, in there.
Hey,
I think she'll be the first woman who's ever done that. I just broke that to you guys right now.
Nice.
Whoa.
Right. I'll probably get in trouble for that because I'm sure the league's going to come out with who's representing us. But look, she's always been good luck for me, and she was down for it. I haven't been able to grab it. Ainge didn't get it. So it's like, let's break the mold. And, she's a big part of this. And so it's pretty cool. And that'll be a cool thing. So,
wow. How did she feel about this?
I don't know. It took we had to it's a little bit like when you got to have like a intricate conversation, and you got to hit it from a couple different angles. So Ainge helped me a little. It's like, we got to get Ash there. That's what's going to and so we kind of tried to have it kind of be something that we all came up with together. But look, she's all in, and she wants to be able to watch this, so she's willing to go through that because it's a lot. It's a lot to take on, and she's a gamer, and she's down, and that's why I love her.
Well, that's actually some big news, because jumping up to that 4 pick, it was incredible. Scotty and I were watching Bill Armstrong live when the 4 pick came in, and it took his breath out. Like it looked like he had jumped into a cold pool, Ryan. Like he could not breathe because of the impact that plays for him. And I've been trying to put into terms what this lottery means to our state and the SEG and to us as sports entertainment alone. How do you even quantify a number 1 overall pick?
Yeah. I mean, and no one knows. Like, no one knows in this draft. I mean, there's, as you kind of look in the playoffs and you look at who's coming out and tearing it up, like where people are, you don't know if you're 5 or 7 years from now who the best players in the drafts are. It's never a science. But like, I think for me, it's definitely, it would definitely be a moment in Utah's history, right? And I think we've had a lot of good momentum building in Utah. I was just on McAfee before this, and, they said, hey, how do you feel about the draft? What's going on? What do you think about being a small market? I just don't, you've heard me say this before, we're not a small market. Like, we just don't have anything in common with the small markets. And I think that we need a moment or two, in right or wrong in the NBA, you just got to have some good fortune. You can talk about your abilities all you want. You can bring in the best team. You can bring it. Like, you've got to get some good fortune. And, the Spurs obviously got that, 2 years ago. And great. Like, you get the pick and you get Wimby. Like, that's pretty incredible. Like, what's there not to know, right? Like, and so I think, are we due some good fortune? I mean, definitely the story of where we are as a state and everything else is lining up for that.
Well, I got to tell you, in order to bring goodwill to the Utah Jazz, signing Will Hardy to a long extension, why are you squinting, Scotty? Was that not too funny?
We might, a little bit. Yeah, a little bit.
Bringing goodwill, signing Will Hardy.
I like it, man.
The Will Hardy extension, Ryan, man, what an amazing thing for this team.
Yeah, and it just shows. I mean, that's. I mean, we're trying to build as much continuity as we can. I feel like Will has been such an incredible. You guys are up close and you see it. Such an incredible partner and ambassador. He's a heck of a basketball coach, and he signed up to do what is in some ways a little hard, where we're rolling with I don't know, what is it, 9 guys under the age of 23. And he's going to develop these guys. And, I think it's important for us, we like Will more today than we did when we hired him. That, he's a gamer, he's all in. It's how a culture and a vibe should feel between my position and Danny and Jay-Z and Will. I'm around it all day long. I see it all day long. It's probably hard for fans maybe that don't see things from the outside, like, all the way. But, we're going to win with Will, and we're going to win in Utah. And I want him to be able to see the work pay off as we start pulling out of a rebuild.
Ryan Smith joining us right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. I am a little curious. When you acquired the hockey club from Arizona and you sent out the pre-orders for tickets, and I think you said the number was anywhere from like 85 to 90%. There weren't a lot of crossovers between the NBA as well as hockey. Now that you have a full season of sample size under your belt, did you see that trend hold out, that the fans that were going to the Utah Hockey Club were a little different than what you saw from Jazz games?
I mean, I can turn this back on Hans a little, like, because you've been to a couple games and I've had a chance to sit with you and talk through it. Like, this isn't like, oh, there's a new thing. It just doesn't feel like, oh, there's a new thing in town. Let's get it. It's like when Hamilton goes to the Eccles Theater. That's not what this is. It's like we have true hockey fans. Like, they are in love with the game. It's the ultimate team game, and they're in love with everything it stands for. And that's the part that I didn't anticipate. I didn't anticipate that the women in Utah would love hockey.
Yeah.
I didn't think through that all the way. It's not like I said, hey, I was thinking through that, but it's invigorating. It's contagious. And this is very different than, hey, we own a team because we own a team of one of the leagues. It's like, no, I love being there. I'm happy when I'm there. And I love rooting for it. I don't know, Hans, what do you think? Because, like, we had those conversations, like, in depth at the games.
Yeah, I would say the same. And to your point, I did bring the boys to one game, and I heard a lot of it from my wife. And she was like, I don't understand. Like, if you're going to go to the game, I'm going. And I'm like, she doesn't go to football games. She doesn't go to basketball games. She doesn't go to baseball. She loves hockey. And you walk around the arena and you're like, geez, it is packed with the female audience. They love hockey. And I thought that was a unique part of the crowd. And then the other unique thing was just the sheer volume of opposing fan base that was in that arena. That, they probably live here in Utah, but they've been lifelong Avalanche, or they've been over the last 8 years Vegas Knights fans, but that arena is packed full of NHL fans. And now that they got the Mammoth gear, I think eventually Mammoth fans are going to pinch them out as much as they can. But, Ryan, just to see the NHL fan travel to that arena while we're sitting there watching that thing was pretty incredible.
Yeah, it's the hockey fans travel. They come in and, our governor went up to Canada on a trade mission, and I think he told me, I saw him. He's like, I'd been doing this, or I'd been up there a bunch, and the amount of hockey questions, it's like completely changed it.
Yeah.
Because of Utah, in the fans are aware of who's in their league now. They want to come see the arena. They want to hear. Everyone wants to come to Delta Center once, and that's one of the things we're seeing. And so, we know we have, mountain basketball, and we're a hoop city, and this is what we do, and we've got hockey now rolling, and the synergies between them are pretty special. It's a good time to be in Utah.
No doubt about it. Ryan, we appreciate your time. Thanks for hanging out with us, and can't wait to do it again here.
Thanks for everything, Ryan.
All right. Thanks, fellas. Appreciate you guys.
You got it. Ryan Smith, owner, Utah Mammoth, as well as the Utah Jazz.
We went through a lot of things there, from Delta Center renovation to NBA draft lottery. He will be sending his wife.
Yeah.
His lucky charm.
By the way, we were given 25 minutes, just for the record. That was 24:32.
Yeah. Just
so.
Scotty and I are very wary of his time. Now, he just came off the Pat McAfee show right on to our show.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that Pat wears him out emotionally.
A little bit, yeah.
Pat wears everybody out emotionally.
That's not an easy one.
But breaking some news.
Yeah.
On the Hans and Scotty show, sending Ashley, and I can't think of a better representative.
No. Hey, look, Danny didn't get it done. Ryan didn't get it done. Sometimes you need the wife to park the car in the driveway sometimes.
And Ryan has shared a few times, some of the major points in his life to get to where he is. And Ashley has been that point every time for Ryan. Just like Jenny has for you, just like Amanda has for me. Our success is all built upon the women in our lives helping us make the right decisions in those moments. And he sees that. So there's so much good going on between the promotion that you built with the 2-for-1 that has been fantastic. And to what we just saw with the hockey club and what Smith Entertainment Group has done in now sending Ashley to the NBA draft lottery. Just one time.
Just one time. That's it.
Just
ask for once.
People don't understand. Scotty and I sit here in an off season when the Jazz and the Mammoth wrap up, and we love doing the show, and there's still plenty to talk about, but it would be really nice talking about the Mammoth pushing Dallas to the brink of elimination, or the Mammoth in a head-to-head with state rival Las Vegas Golden Knights in a best-of-7. That's what we want.
And how about Game 7, Victor versus Cooper, to move on into the NBA playoffs?
And just watching Cooper undo Victor systematically.
Oh, boy.
I don't know. Victor is a freak.
Yeah, he is.
And he's just getting started.
This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.